time for our community spotlight. And today I'm meeting with Bonnie Burnside with the Ohio Hospice Lifecare. Hello, Bonnie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
We always want to bring important issues like this to our community. And I think that hospice care is something that, I haven't gone through it completely yet, although I'm starting to understand these things as I'm dealing with things in my life. And so fill in the blanks. Let's start right from the beginning. What is hospice care?
So hospice care is a service that's offered to patients who have a prognosis of 6 months or less. And that's not to say that we don't have patients that are on service for longer than that. Guessing when the end of somebody's life is going to be is not an exact science. So we have processes that we go through to make sure that they're still appropriate for care, but we're really looking at serving patients and families at the very end of their life.
And I know that there are hospice care facilities all around. Where are you located specifically?
So we have an inpatient unit in Worcester where we can bring in the sickest of the sick patients to really take care of patients who have symptoms that we can't get under control at home. But then we serve patients in Wayne, Holmes, Ashland, Richland, and Medina counties in their home setting. So if that's in where they live with their family, where they live alone, in assisted livings or nursing facilities, we go to where the patients are in all of those areas. And then we have offices in Ashland County and Holmes County, and then our Worcester office as well. And we're in the process of opening an office in Cuyahoga County as well. And we'll be serving patients in that area.
So when I hear the word hospice, they say, oh, we've called in hospice care. You think it's days, right? But you're saying it's weeks, maybe months.
Sure. Yeah. And that's a pretty common misconception of hospice care. People think that they really have to be on their deathbed in order to call hospice for their loved one. But really what we find is that if people call us earlier in their disease trajectory, they have a better experience, both symptom-wise and quality of life-wise. So we have patients who do call us in when the doctors have said, you know what, I don't think there's anything else that I can do for you aggressively that will help your disease to get better. So whether it's chemotherapy for cancer, whether it's continuing to go in and out of the hospital for heart disease, there's just not a lot more that I can do that will help you aggressively. But I think hospice can help you stay comfortable and enjoy a better quality of life. And so we have patients that are still going to their grandkids' ball games, and they're feeling better doing it because they're not getting the chemotherapy, or they're not in and out of the hospital and using all of their energy to do that. Lots of times we discontinue medications that aren't needed anymore. And so they feel better because they're not doing all of those things. We work from a team approach. So we have nurses who are paying attention to things like their medications and the physical things that might be going on with them if they have symptoms that need managed. But then we have social workers on our team who are there to help with resources they might need in the community, help with emotional support, the grieving process, help support caregivers. I really think that caregiving is one of the hardest things we can do as a human being. And our social workers are really great at offering support to those caregivers and kind of helping them through that journey. We have chaplains on our staff who are there to offer spiritual care. They're not there to promote any specific spiritual care, but just really meet the patient where they're at and kind of help define, how does this end of life look like for me? And how do I navigate this? And so they're really skilled at doing that. And then we have personal care specialists who go in and help with personal care. Such a help, again, to our caregivers and to the patients. I recently had an experience where a family member was on hospice care, and I was one of her primary caregivers. And it was quite enlightening to be on the other side of the coin. And I was so grateful for the personal care specialist that came in and bathed her and got her cleaned up. She felt so much better after the personal care specialist had been there. So I think they're really valuable members of our team. And then we have volunteers on our team who are absolutely amazing individuals. We have about 200 volunteers on our roster. And they show up at our door and they say, I really want to help people who are in this last stage of their life. And you don't even have to pay me. I'm just going to be here to help people. And they're such valuable members of our team. They provide respite care to our caregivers. They can go in and sit for a 4-hour stretch of time. So our caregivers can go take a nap. They can go take care of their own needs, go to the doctor, go get groceries, go spend time with friends. And then they do lots of other really practical things for us, both around the office and in the patient homes. So we're always looking for volunteers. If anybody's interested in volunteering for us, we're always looking for those people.
And so how are these programs, or how is hospice care funded? What does the patient have to do? Do you work with their doctors and insurance companies? How does that work?
Yep. So we do. The majority of our patients are on Medicare. And so there's a really nice Medicare hospice benefit. And once they elect that, then hospice becomes responsible for everything that's related to their terminal condition. So we cover any medical equipment they might need. We cover all medications to keep them comfortable. All of our services going in and out are covered at 100% under Medicare and Medicaid. If they have a private insurance, then we work with that private insurance to find out what their benefits are and get those covered through the benefits. If they don't have insurance, then we have a community care fund that's funded through donations and memorials, fundraisers that we do. And so we're able to access those funds to help patients who can't afford the care but really need the care.
That's incredible. And I guess, is there anything that I'm missing? Because you're the expert in this, not me. What kind of things are important for people to know about hospice care?
Sure. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what hospice care is. You kind of tackled one of them already, that I have to be in the very last days of my life. So we can serve patients for months or weeks or days. Another misconception sometimes that we hear is that you have to have cancer to be on hospice. That's not true. We really help anybody who is at the end stage of their life. There's a lot of misconceptions that, we're out there to over medicate people and that we use medications, that are going to make you groggy and not make you able to interact. Our whole focus is really on living and what can we do to improve your quality of life for however many days you have. None of us knows how many days that is.
Right.
And so we really are focused on living and focused on how can we make the days that you have be the best days that they can possibly be. And people are really afraid, I think, when we show up at their door for the first time. They're afraid that we're going to be in there talking about death all the time and talking about those things. And certainly we're an audience for that because we know that people want to talk about that and need to talk about that. But we really end up focusing on their life. And we do a lot of reminiscing. We do a lot of reconnecting people, working on making their end of life goals come true. And we're really focused on them living all the days that they have when we go in to take care of people.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much because it gets to be wearing on somebody and they are thinking for the most part death. And I think they just want to not think about it for a while.
Absolutely.
Just cared for. So I appreciate all that. So how can people get more information about your specific organization?
Sure. So they can receive information from us anytime by calling 330-264-4899, and that rings into our Worcester office, and then we'll take care of you from there. There's a really simple choose one, choose two message that you get when you call in, but it's not a long one. Or we have a website that's www.lifecarehospice.org. And there's lots of information there on positions that we have available. We have lots of nursing and PCS positions available right now. Also, if you were interested in volunteering, there's information on there, and then information about our hospice in general.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Bonnie, thanks so much for your time and the information. Yeah. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation so people can call and at least ask the questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're always happy to field questions or calls that are just like, hey, I'd like to get more information. We're always happy to do that.
All right. Thanks for being with me today.
Thanks so much for having me.